Hey, it's Mr. Allen here with a reading lesson for you today, so let's dive right in. Today we're going to be looking at poetry from our book. Our first one that we have today is The Camping Trip. We're going to read it and then we'll go back and talk about it a little bit. Here we go. The Camping Trip. We roughed it at Old Piney Park with tents and hot dogs after dark. I'd barely yawned and gone to sleep when I felt something creep, creep, creep. A slimy something crawled on me, crossed my toe, and up my knee. Ridiculous! Hard to believe that creature slithered up my sleeve. It was not humorous or fun. I hollered, "Rattlesnake, let's run!" We all jumped up and stomped around. Our tent collapsed flat on the ground. 10 flashlights clicked to reveal that creepy crawly by my heel. I brushed bright red. Oops, I was wrong. Snake? No, a lizard, 1 inch long. Alright, so let's look at this. How many lines does the first stanza have? Well, we know that a stanza is like the paragraph in a poem. So let's go back over and answer that. How many lines do they have? Well, we see in this first block, there are only 2 lines. We roughed it at Old Piney Park with tents and hot dogs after dark. So to answer that question, we would say 2 lines. There we go. Next, it's asking us to look at the rhyme of the poem. Remember, rhyme is words that sound alike. So we're going to circle the words that rhyme in the second stanza, and we're going to write those 2 words that rhyme in the third stanza on our line. So we're circling it in the second stanza, and in the third stanza, we are going to write the rhyming words. So let's start with the second one here. It says, I'd barely yawned and gone to sleep when I felt something creep, creep, creep. Well, here we see that sleep rhymes with creep. And I could underline all 3 creeps, or circle them rather, because sleep rhymes with creep on all 3. Now it says we have to find the ones in stanza 3 as well. A slimy something crawled on me, across my toe, and up my knee. What are my rhyming words there? I have said me and knee. Me rhymes with knee. The last question we have on this one is a point of view question. What does the narrator think when he finds out what was crawling on him? I blushed bright red. Oops, I was wrong. Snake? No, a lizard 1 inch long. By him saying that he blushed bright red, and by saying oops, we see that he is pretty embarrassed about this, isn't he? Alright, so this poem is called Bubblegum. We're going to read it just like we did the last one and then go back and answer the questions. Here we go. Bubblegum. I bought a pack of bubblegum, as I do every week, and wrapping 10 or 20 sticks, I popped them in my cheek. I started masticating. That's a fancy word for chew. The gum became a juicy gob. I took a breath and blew. I suddenly inflated, puffing up like a balloon. I was a giant bubble, big, round, and as a full moon. My father hit the ceiling. He was really in a stew. He hollered, "Stop, don't go!" As out the door I flew. The neighbors' eyes were popping. They dropped everything to see. I was the entertainment of the day. Forget about TV. If you like bubblegum, beware. Chew just one stick a day, or you'll become a bubble too and float up, up, away. I saw my friends below me and let loose a mighty roar. Whoosh! All my air blew out, and I was just a kid once more. Let's look at the beginning of the story here. It says, point of view. How does the author feel about bubblegum? Well, after reading this, I see that he is a big fan of bubblegum, so I'm just going to say he likes bubblegum. And I know that because it says, as every week unwrapping 10 or 20 sticks, I pop them in my cheeks. So I know that he really likes them because he's buying 10 to 20 sticks of bubblegum every week. Next, we're going to look at what's called idiisms. And idiisms are just words that are said but not really meant for what they mean. Like, I'm driving my family up the wall. That is an idiism. Your family's not really being driven up the wall. It just means that you're driving them a little crazy or making them guess themselves, right? So let's underline 2 idiisms in our story. And we're looking just at the 4th stanza. Okay, so let's look at the 4th stanza. 1, 2, 3, 4. My father hit the ceiling. He was really in a stew. He hollered, "Stop, don't go," as out the door I flew. Looking at that 4th stanza then, it says, my father hit the ceiling. He was really in a stew. He hollered, stop, don't go, as out the door he flew. So my idiisms here are the father hitting the ceiling and that he was in a stew. Both of these are not to be taken literally. The father was not really in a stew, nor did he actually hit a ceiling. These idiisms tell me that the father is actually very mad or upset. So I'm going to write this. Father, mad or upset. Mad, upset. Very good. Let's move on over to the other point of view. It says, how does the neighbors feel about the narrator's adventure? And we're supposed to draw the box around the words as text evidence. It says the neighbor's eyes were popping. They dropped everything to see. I was the entertainment for the day. Forget about TV. We see that right here. So I would draw a box around. I was the entertainment for the day. Forget about TV. And maybe about their eyes popping. Eyes popping here again is one of those idiisms. But let's think about that. What would they be thinking in this case? I'd say that they're pretty entertained or shocked, right? So I would say they are shocked and are entertained. Entertained. Good. Now we're looking at the 3rd stanza in this page. So 1, 2, 3. And it says, I saw my friends below me and let out a mighty roar. We're supposed to underline the idiom here. And it's let out a mighty roar. He did not really go roar. It just means that she was yelling to her neighbors or shouting. It's your turn. I want you to make a connection to the poems that we just read. I want you to tell me which poem has the funniest events or characters. Put it in the comments below.
And that does it for today's lesson. And as always, remember, you are smart, you are kind, you are important, and you are loved. Have a fabulous day, Falcons.